Blessing, blessing, blessing to each and everyone, to all my beautiful people, to all my lovely supporters, to all my families and friends, to all my families across the world. Once you're my supporter, we're families. We become families over time. Happy to be here. Thank you for joining me. Now, I'm going to be talking about something that's really concerning to me, and you may not agree, and that's okay because we all supposed to have our own opinion. And there's something that I see circling around, and I just want to have to say something about it as a vlogger. But at the same times, you have to be careful and touching certain topic. Now, it's about older men and younger girls, older women and younger guys. Now, each and everyone have a right to his or her own opinion. You have the right to your own opinion. I have the right to my own opinion. However, you cannot fight down someone because they might be disagree. So when a vlogger might post something, and when he or she posts something, other people is going to comment on it. And whenever time they comment, that is how they are feeling, or they have their own opinion, so they share their own opinion. And that is fine. You should feel free to be able to give your own opinion in anything, because it's a free world. It's a free freedom of speech. But we still have to be careful and try not to hurt each other's feelings while coming across with what you may think or what you may have in your thought that you want to bring across. Now, growing up, most of the times things cannot change, but most of the times, like older men, when they do have a younger spouse, most of the time it's for security. It's normally used to be security. And I'm not saying it's not love also, because people fall in love, and sometimes you may not love the individual, but because of getting to know the individual and spending time with he or she, you grow, or you grew into it even more, and you find yourself loving that person despite you never loved that individual. So what I'm trying to say now is, like, people are saying, I was watching a vlogger a few weeks ago, and her husband is much more older than her, and a lot of people have what to say and what not. Now, I know you can have a younger person could fall in love with a older man and it work, and sometimes it don't, and it's left to do with the individual himself or herself. Because whenever time you're going into something or going into a relationship, you suppose, and this is why dating is very important. So when you go in, before you get too deep, you date the individual, and you all go out and you get to know him or her, get to like him or her, dislike what they like, to see if you have similarity, or if you don't, maybe you don't. Sometimes you start off and it might be rocky at first, and then it work out. But to be honest, if you look now, sometimes you look around and you see like a older man with a younger person, and you say, And I've seen many, and sometimes it's like you look and you say, I believe this one will work. But considering most of the time, and this is just my opinion, I'm just speaking of my opinion. So if, for instance, said you have a older man or a older man, I should say, and the girl already have kids. Say the girl have children already, and the man already have children. Most of the time it will work that way, because getting into it, you already have children, so you don't expect that you're going to have kids no more. Sometimes you might, depends on the age of the man, you might even get one or two, sometimes none. But guess what, it will work and it balance out itself, because the man already have children and the woman already have children, and because of that they just work out something, and love continue, and they just have a relationship right there, because they're ready. Now if the man already, because most of the time you will find the man already have children, but then the young miss don't have any kids. So what happened, it might start off, because it might work out and it might not, because at the end of the day the girl is going to look into it time to come and say, oh, I want a child now. What if the man cannot really get that girl pregnant? Then what is going to happen? The girl is going to get miserable, and that girl is going to seek attention elsewhere, and sometimes even relationship breakup, or they might get involved with another person, or they might start to sneak and decide. However, it doesn't work that way for everyone, and not everyone is like that. Everyone is different. Okay, so for instance, the girl might get have a baby, meet this young go ahead and meet this young man, and they decide to get married. And some man, they can get kids even up into their 60s, but sometimes for some, sorry, it can't. But then you have a lot of different ways of how women can get pregnant, whereby they can, the man could share the sperm and put it into the woman, and but doctor can do that, and a baby comes. It's like, new technology, different scientists, different things working now. It's not like back in the days. But what my belief, definitely, that I stick to the point, my belief definitely is, young girls has to be very careful. Be careful of plenty of the things. Think about it. We all know sometimes, you might come from a poorer class family, and things are hard, and it is rough, and it is tough, and so you met a man, and he can finance you, sometimes even help school you, and sometimes he even provide for you in many ways that the younger guys can't. And if you can deal with it and know that you can settle for that in the future to come, fine, nothing wrong with it. But if you know deep within yourself that you're not going to be able to live with it, don't get into it. Think hard before you do it. Don't let, because of not every woman looking for security, and that is why it is so important when women can finance themselves, and women can provide for themselves. So when you do go into this thing, you may be going in for love, but when you're going in for security and for someone to take care of you and other stuff, and most of the time is sometimes plenty of these elderly men, they're abusive too, in ways that they will talk with you and you have to put up with it, because they don't know that you're in it for certain reason, and they will deal with you in many different ways. Now, I'm not saying all is like that, but I'm just saying be careful of what you're planning and what you're doing. And I can speak for myself, because I can remember when I was only 14 years old when I get involved with my husband. I can say my husband now, because we are married, but not our relationship work out. But I was 14 years old and he was 20, so he was 6 years older than me. And 14-year-old is a kid. You're still a child. However, I wasn't the typical child, because from 14 years old I was responsible for myself. I was totally responsible for myself. And when I said I have to be doing things to help myself, and I'm not mean sexual active, I mean like hunting to find things to sell. I've been selling from I was 14 because I used to have to go to the bush, pick breadfruit, pick guinea, pick pear, buy banana, resell it back at 14 to survive. This is what I used to be doing. So when I met my husband, I remember my mother, at first she wasn't agree. She never agreed to it, but maybe I was just seeking for a father figure because at 14 and dating, I sure know I never ready for sex. No, I did not. But at the end of the day is yes, I was dating. And he was 20 and I was 14. And at that given point, we sit and we talk because as I said, I was fully mature at 14. And my husband is my first love. He was the first man that I've ever been with. So what happened, I went and we talked and I mentioned plain and straight, and this is why I did really care for him and check for him, and even up until today still do, because most of the guys them at that time will be pressuring you. So when I'm speaking of old, they may not be as whole as these young girls are taking some elderly man. But yes, my husband was 6 years older than me. He was already out of school and I was still in school, and he stood by me and he even sent me a hair through school. And that's why sometimes, most of the time, it's like I always feel obligated because it's like, I don't know, it's like because of what he did for me then. And then he never was pressuring me as how a lot of the guys now would pressure girls into what they wasn't ready for. And I was one of the lucky one because he waited. We dated for 14, 15, 16 years, going 17 before any love, any intimacy, deep, gets too, you understand, we have to be careful how we talk. So that happened up and nearly to 3 years, and not many of these guys would never do that. And then when I do, dated, and then I get pregnant, I have 4 beautiful children for him, and he stood by me. We have our rough days. When I said rough, it was tough. And even now, still, but we are fighting and we try to work it out. And there are times when I get frustrated and miserable and XYZ because it's like he couldn't manage, he couldn't cope. But it's like love play a big role into a relationship. So it's a different if I was only in it for what he could have offered. I would have run long time. I would have walked out of it years gone by when he was struggling and couldn't. But one of the things that he playing in my mind is like, I remember when he used to be there for me, when he used to buy my little stuff them carry for me. I remember he used to send me to school. I remember he always be there for me. And during those times, we stick it out. Now, it worked itself out because there was love into it. Now, this is what I'm saying. If a younger girl is getting involved with someone who is way older or even older than her, and soon as it reaches a certain point, you gotta run because it wasn't in it for the love. You're seeking security. And as I'm saying, it is okay for some. For me personal, when it come on to older men, I don't have a problem because, as what they said, the whole of the moon is brighter I shine, the whole of broom know to sweep the corner best. And it is totally true because a lot of older men know definitely how to take care of a woman, and they know the needs of a woman, and they know what women need, and they know how to, they're even respectful more. And I'm not going to say all, but majority of them do. Because the younger guys then sometimes they don't, it's like they won't care for themselves. They're looking for people, for women to care for themselves. So at the end of the day the reality is, this is why a lot of young girls are running into relationship with older men. But plenty don't really want these older men. And plenty of these older men not even of the sense of realizing before it is too late. So these girls get into relationship with them, and they want uptown, and they want downtown, and they want parade, and they want everything. So these men now push and try some, even help them through school. Just like I said, I'm a perfect candidate to speak of these things because I've been through it, and I can tell you there are times when I used to, like, I just feel like throwing the towel. But then again, it flash back to love. And then when you have the kids them at an early age, maybe if kids wasn't involved sometimes, I'm not saying I would have gone sometimes, I'm not going to lie you, because, when certain things come upon you, but again, it boiled down to love. So when a lot of these young ladies get involved with these men, it's just for security. It's for security. Because, be honest, a older man and a young girl, plenty of these girls, as what they would call it, they're going for, they love their hard drive. They love sweet sugar cane hard. So when these men cannot perform certain ways, what is going to happen? They're going to seek attention elsewhere. So anywhere you take it, to be honest, you have some who can ride out the storm because some really love. And I see a lot, when I look on YouTube and all those places, I see a lot of younger girls are dating older men and having babies. And I see it with my own eyes happening around me. Not on YouTube alone, but just happening around me. And it work out. But the reality is, it don't work for each and every one. So people has to be very careful. Young girl has to be very careful, because that is why I remember in a couple of years back in Jamaica, where this older man is like, he killed his girlfriend because he spent thousands of dollars to send her through school, and he rented place for her, he buy her car, send her through college and everything. And then when it reached a point of where the girl now feel like, what could I be doing with somebody like you? And some of the parents is to be blamed, because you sat by and you watch your kids, and because to take the pressure off you, worse if you're a single mother, and to take the pressure off you cause these young girls, your daughters, to get involved with these older men. And yeah, the money is great, and when you have the financial problem and the school loan and everything, and they step on board, yes, it feel good. But look into the future. What is going to happen to your daughter or to your niece or to your granddaughter future when they decide and said, I don't want this old man. First thing, he smelling rank, he dribbling, he XY. So come on, you have to be really truthful about this thing. What is going to happen? What is going to happen in the long run or the future? So you have to look out not only for the present but for the long term of it, and it can affect our children, because at times we stand by and we watch them and they go ahead, and it not going to work, but because you want the financial help, you just sat by and you just watch it happen. But then when sooner or later, when the girl became unhappy and want to get out, sometimes they can't just get out like that, because the men them are not allowing them to get out. They start to make threat and they start to talk also, and some really and truly not only make threat, but you understand, they will harm them. So this is why women has to really be smart and independent. And if your mommy always said, I remember when I was growing up and this man used to set on me, and I remember mommy used to say, don't take his money. If you feel like he's not good enough for you, the money should never be good enough for you. And if it's one thing I keep saying, my mommy never have much to give us, but she taught us the values of life. And this is what a lot of parents will have to instill. And plenty of the time, parents don't know what their young girls are doing out there too, They don't know. Some know, some don't. But, and sometimes it's like you try to talk to these girls and they don't even want to listen, because they feel like they are old enough to make their own choices and whatever. Because sometimes parents go to the last end to try to stop it, but you can't stop it if they don't want to stop it. Because for me personal, I did told my mom, this is who I love and this is who I'm going to talk to. And thank be to God, he was the perfect one. So not all work out for good. And I can remember back in the days when my husband used to come and he used to bring my little sneaks, knock on my little roller, my little this and my little that and XYZ, and buy me little stuff them care come give me. And as a young girl, you love that. You love getting a little, you understand what I'm saying? And so a lot of girls are going into relationship for the wrong reason. For the total wrong reason. And it boiled down again to the men also. A lot of men are talking to older women and it's for security. Because a lot of women may have stuff and the younger don't have it. And so they put themselves, but to be honest, it works out much better with a older woman and a younger man most of the time. Is the truth. It's the truth. Because a older woman, a man is much younger, but then he will still can keep up. The woman still is going to keep up no matter how old she is with the men most of the time. Now some of the men them is still going to go out there, so you can see it is totally different because it don't matter a woman's age, they still will keep up most of the time to the younger men. Now most of the time the younger men will get in the relationship and they're just seeking for stuff. And so some is just thief, pure criminal, but just like how women go after men sometimes for money, is the same thing with a lot of these guys too. Now some will stick around or play the games and have another person still playing the game, while some will in it for a long term. And as I said, it works more with a older woman to a younger man, but sometimes it don't. Because plenty of the time it's just the same, whereby a man might need a child and the woman can't give it. So what is going to happen? Plenty of the time the man go, and it's totally different because a man will go out there and get the child and it still work out sometimes it don't. So each individual just has to be careful, keep your eye open, be very smart, don't only do things because your emotion running wild, but think about what you're going to do before, because it can have long-term consequence. It can have a lot of consequence to it. And the moment you start it, sometimes to get out, it is not easy. It is not. So all I'm saying for a lot of these young girls who are getting married to these older men, I'm not gonna say no, because I'm not gonna say no. If I wasn't married, and this is the truth, I want to keep it real. If I wasn't married, and maybe find an elderly man, then who to tell I'll do the same? Because women always seeking for security. I'm a hard-working woman, and I'm working very hard, trying my utmost best to do what I have to do. And you tell me, set me work and going, and me find a elderly man who can really take care of me and be there for me and help me to build a house and XYZ. You come on, you think I'm not going to take it? Oh, please, yeah. But the end of the day is I know who I am. And I know the type of individual that I am. And if I love somebody, it doesn't matter. I love you for you. So although I might be in it for the money or for the security, then I'm still going to put my best into it, and I'm going to take care of that individual. When I say take care, I mean wash him food, scrub them, keep him clean and nice and everything, and make sure he feel good too. That's the type of person that I am. So I'm not going to jump on these young girls and say, oh, XYZ. All I'm saying, be careful, know what you are doing, and know the long term of it, because not everyone can really ride out the storm in this situation. Prepare yourself for the storm and know it's not going to be smooth sailing at all time. And to married, support the person take ill tomorrow. Are you going to love him still? Are you going to love him still? Now, not because the person is older and you are younger, you still can take sick, or anything can happen to you So you still have to be very careful anywhere you take it. So all I'm saying, I'm not jumping the gun, and I'm not jumping to any conclusion of such to say don't do it, just not get into it. No, I'm going to put myself into the position, because yeah, my husband was maybe only 6 years older than I, but yes, I've done it too, and it pay out. It really play out for me, but for some it don't. And it wasn't easy at all. When I said wasn't, there are times when you couldn't put food on the table. There are times when you only can feed the kids and you can't even feed yourself. But that's when you decide to ride that storm out, is because of love. But if you do not love the individual, you gotta run. You're not gonna stick it out. And too many young people rather to date the older men and don't want to work, because a lot of them just sit down and depending upon them, and they have, and don't, because they are old, they have rules and regulation that they do pass down and tell you. Now Matt, you see plenty of them come on social media and pretend like it's all fine. It's not all fine. Some of them only pretending. They are pretending, but behind the scenes some are going through hell, but they are just pretending. So mothers, speak to your children. Let them know it can be good and it can be bad. A lot, for me personally, and it's the truth, I'm not going to lie, because if my mom used to say if I was so young again, but the truth is, a lot of, if I was to have a, like said, to get married or XYZ, like for instance, me and my husband would have a divorce, and I would marry to the oldest man of the oldest. And that's the truth. They say the older moon, the brighter I shine. The older men know how to treat a woman much better. It's the truth. So therefore, that's where I would be heading to. But you have to know that your heart is in it. You can't just go in just like that. So you have to really desire to I'm going to be there for this person, and this person be there for me. It just don't go one way. And you have to realize and know where you're going. You're not just flying into it like that. And I say work. It doesn't work like this. So plenty of you out there who are just going in for security and XYZ, and then when problem hit, you want to take up your something there and run. It doesn't work like that, baby. It doesn't. You have to learn how to ride out the storm, and that is why it pays to be independent. It pays, because fear. Mom used to tell me, say, your money. So work. Find a job and work, because when you work and you know says your money, no man can ask you, so where the change there? Where they do with the rest of money? It is yours. You do what you so desire with it. And there's nothing like an independent woman. Independent woman is the way to go. And enough of these youngsters don't want to work anyhow. So they're hunting. You know how much youngsters don't want to work? So they're hunting. They're like a prey. You know the animal we are prey of a dead of an animal? If we kill them to get their meat to eat, that is how plenty of these young men is. Offer the older woman to get what they have. And the moment they get it, sometimes they're gone. And then you are devastated. And then you are in this dilemma where all sort of something come down upon you. Then what you think is going to happen? You imagine, be honest, a young guys, 25, 30, dating a 60, 70-year-old woman. Jesus Christ, come on, Father, forgive me. Do not call the Lord name in vain. But come on, people. Be real. You think somebody might do that with you forever? When every day they look and they see another young girl out there? Be real. Put your son in the same position as that youngster. Now, if you know you're in it for fun, then fine. Or you know you're in it like a season, then fine. But if you know that you're going to mess up your brain and then XYZ and then you are left devastated, then what is going to happen? So when you're going into any relationship, whether with younger or older, be smart. Don't be stupid. If they're playing the games, you play the games too. So, nothing like working for your very own. Nothing. Because fear. And when you do so, trust me, whenever time you do so, and you know you work for your own money, you ever hear them say, if you carry your own water, you gotta take time not to spill it? Because you know. So you take your time and you work for what you need. Work don't kill you. Take your time and you work for what you want, and take your time and you save and you bill. Because sometimes getting involved with all these, it doesn't pay. Because a lot of these older women, is like, you date these younger guys, they had other people out there, and then they pick up all sorts of something and then carry it come, and then what happened? Young girls, they are beautiful. And as I said, nothing wrong in dating an older man, but be careful what you're doing. Because plenty of these men, they will try and they do the uttermost best and they build you up, and then all of a sudden you feel like, say, he's not good enough for you, so you want a nice young guy where you see a check out for you, and that's okay because it's your age group. But then you have to remember that individual was there for you, and then plenty is going to blame the older men and say, what you did think? You think she should ever want you? Well, the woman if you know too. And it is a fact, it's a reality of life. Because a lot of men, and it's not only girls sometimes, because when you look at most men, that sometimes they will give you a spend for a woman, and spend, and then after the woman gone. Because some of them never really love you. And this is why I always say to young people, oh, I found this person who loved me and XYZ and we're together. I always said, don't believe it. It don't must last. It can last, but it don't must. So you as a teacher, young girls and your boys, not because you're in a relationship right now, that doesn't mean it's going to last. Because sometimes you yourself might see somebody out there who you so desire and want that individual. So, and then sometimes the other person might see somebody who they really cares for more than you. So you have to prepare yourself for the worst at any given time. Not that you have to go in a relationship with one foot, you understand what I mean, like doubting the individual, not trusting, no, but you have to be careful of a cocky eye, so the least thing, don't be stupid, because this relationship is more about games than anything else. Games, they're playing a lot of games. In a relationship, people just run in and run out as they like. Even married couple are doing it too. Because tell you the truth, and the grace of God keep men going. I have to be fighting and fighting and fighting. Because sometimes the least little thing you say, boy, I can't manage this. And you understand what I'm saying? But if you really love the individual, you can remember what the person have done for you. And you write out the stamp and you stick it up. Because I must say, every day I talk, my husband is not the perfect most person, but I must say he stick it out with me. We stick it out with the kids, them, everything. There are times we have our ups and downs. There are times we're not even communicating. There are times I'm so upset with him. There are times we have our problems. There are times when we say, done, right off. But that's what the devil really wants, That's what the devil really wants. I'm not going to pretend like I'm the most perfect wife. We have our ups and downs. We have our problems. We have our issues. There are times when, at the end of the road, me say, but there is always a but. There is always. And sometimes you have to go to God and you have to pray and you have to talk to God and you have to fight. Because sometimes, like, me tell you something, if you didn't say you have your whole wound dressy because you knew a wound them, sometimes you don't even know if you really dress them the wound there. I true something. So you dress the whole wound, at least you know the individual ways and everything sometimes. Now just get up and run. Sometimes you have to really fight. And sometimes you say you're just done totally. But when you look and you say you look out there in the world and you see what is the world is like out there, you wonder if you really want to get out there into those things. Because today, hey, sometimes you see some relationship, only God knows. So sometimes better you stick to the old or stick to what you know. Because sometimes you get into certain things, or you might be dating somebody or XYZ, and let me tell you something, when you think about a goal, I know many of you seen it around you. If you say everything is not goal, no. One thing for me, as I said, you cannot hide from God. So it make no sense to hide from man. You can't hide from God. So let me tell you, every day I say it, I may not be the perfect person. Father God, see, I know my heart. I was with my partner from I was 14. Over years and years old, over 30 years going. All the time people say 30, we say 30. So it's not always easy, and the road is not smooth sailing. Yes, baby, it's not. But what I'm saying to you, ride out the storm sometimes, because getting into something else, at least sometimes, is much worse. And young people, young girls, put something up here, because once you have that, you have it all. So whatever you're getting into, be careful. Make sure you love that individual. Don't be forced to get into what you don't want to. Young people, be smart. I would say to the elderly also, be smart. To the grown up, be smart, because sometimes the younger people, they play you like a fiddle. So you have to really know yourself. You have to really know what you really want, what you need. And if you want to date a older person, fine. As I said, nothing wrong with that. But make sure you look at all the odds before. I'm going to need a baby. What is going to happen? Would he be able to give me a baby? I'm going to need a baby. Would she be able to have a baby for me? And sometimes the older person might have children, and you as a younger one, sometimes you're even the same age. And that's where it comes in, the problem. But as I said, if you can live it. But just be careful. Go in with an open mind. Think about it. Talk about it. Just don't jump into it. And sometimes you have to be realistic. Sometimes you have to really look into yourself and say, this is what I want. What is going to happen when I date a younger person? What is going to happen when I date an older person? And love is love. It doesn't matter the age. Love is love. Once you love the individual and the person love you, worse if, no matter how young the person is and how old the person is, if you don't really love each other, it can work out. If you don't really love. I mean I look foolish. I mean love. Real love from here. Not for what the individual have or what the individual might offer, but love for love. You'll be surprised to know. You will surprised to know what can happen. So, be smart. There was a time, that's why you see, and a lot of times when people are younger, and you see a lot of grown-up people sometimes just lash out at these young people and lash out at others like there was always a perfect person. You're not always perfect. And you used to do things when you're young too. Don't not pretend, because some of know older people for no life sometime in the past was a mess. More messier than a lot of these young girls. More messy. But now, because sometimes things change for you and you're living the most decent of life now, or maybe Father God come and touch you and wash you and make you brand new, then you pass judgmental on other people. But remember, You must put yourself into another man's shoe, and do not judge people if you never wear that shoe. Because sometimes some people have to really do some things to survive. We don't know. So all you have to do, I say, Father God, thank you. Touch that individual. May you change one their life for me. Sometimes you have to pray for them. You have to put them. You have to really pray for them. Because at times, sometimes you out there looking in and you do not know the half of the story. You don't know. I mean, I tell you, you don't know. There are many young people out there, are there are many women out there sometimes who have, and I'm not justifying the situation for women to go out there and do as they like to survive. No, I'm not. But you, if another person might can do it when you can't do it. So if you think some women have children to feed and then just gotta be there when they can go and something their stuff to get it to feed their kids, they're going to do it because that's a mother. Mother's going to do what they has to do. Now, you or I might do it the other way, but they choose to do it the other way. That doesn't mean that the individual is worse than you. Sometimes you used to do foolishness too. But a lot of people, because their life changed now, and then no longer have to do this, and then no longer have to do that, then they just judge the individual on XYZ. Sometimes you have to try. Sometimes people just needed to say XYZ, and you talk with them and you explain. Sometimes even to say, I know you can do it because I was in that situation too. But thank God, I find my way out, and you can do it too. Sometimes you have to say you could go back to school and better your life. Sometimes they may can't go because like myself, I couldn't able to go back because I was after the schooling my kids then because of having children at an early age. So sometimes you cannot just look on somebody and point your finger and you don't know the full story. You don't know what happened between why it caused them to be living this life or XYZ. So the most thing I can say, ladies, be very careful. Men, be very careful just to see him. Look, because a lot of things that happen sometimes never have to happen. It never have to happen because sometimes they get involved when they didn't have to, but they never think of what could have happened. So they just go ahead and do what they feel like do. And then situation come upon them, and then that is when things really go wrong. So you have to be very smart, think before you do anything. And stop past judgmental on other people's life. Some of you. Sometimes just pray for them. Sometimes it might be your own children. Just pray for them. Pray. Pray for them. So, this is your girl Leah saying, love you, my beautiful people. Not because you're not in the situation doesn't mean other people are not in it. Not because you're out of it doesn't mean other people can't come out. I see, like how you come out, them will come out too. Pray for them. Lift up each other in prayer. Until next time, this is your girl Leah saying, love you, my beautiful people. Thanks for watching. Peace out.